Welcome to the Human Design Festival.
Live in Sofia and online worldwide. Welcome, everybody. Nice to have you here in this virtual space of the Human Design Element. We're creating this year the International Human Design Festival live in Sofia from the 22nd to the 25th of January 2026 and online worldwide from the 30th of January till the 1st of February 2026, where we have this year a special BG5 OC16 day. These are the business side of human design, for those who don't know. And today we have another lovely speaker who's going to share with us her wisdom. She's, or used to be, she will say herself, an HR specialist. So there are a lot of goodies coming your way, guys. The practicality of that profession combined with the human design perspective and specifically the BG5, career orientation, teams, how do we work together with the other? Because, it's not only about surviving, it's about thriving. I'm very happy to say hello to Veronica. Hi, Veronica.
Hi, Veronica.
The two Veronicas, yeah. Could you present yourself and say a little bit more about yourself?
Yes, absolutely. So thanks so much for having me here. And so my background is over the last 30 some years now, I have worked in the field of human resources, and specifically, I work in the field of leadership development and management training. I coach people one-on-one. I myself have led various teams over the years and have a lot of practical experience in both very large global businesses and smaller businesses. And I continue to work in that capacity today. I'm the head of learning in an organization, so I am focused on the employee experience of learning and how I ensure that they're having a great experience in their roles and that I help them to really maximize all of their strengths and qualities in their roles and also help them get through the difficult spots because, work isn't one smooth ride all day long. There are definitely challenges that come up. And then in addition to that, I also have been, I've had my own business now for like 6+ years where I also work with people on a one-on-one capacity to coach and guide them into new careers, often tied, to particular stages of life that they're in, and they're trying to make sense of what's next for them. So I absolutely love integrating all of this BG5 knowledge into my coaching practice. And I really feel like it helps people to take just a whole new, get a whole new perspective about their careers and set themselves up, in a whole new direction of success in their work life.
Amazing, amazing. And lectures and workshop where you're going to deliver sound amazing. So guys, stay tuned for more. But Veronica is going to be get really practical, and it's not, as she herself said previously before we started recording, going on an interview. It's kind of being in a game, and you have to be ready to play. So, are you ready to play? In case you want to change your occupation or job and really find something you love where you can be authentically yourself. So we're definitely going to address these topics as well as working in teams. But now back to Veronica. Veronica, our slogan this year is be in your element. So what is your element?
Well, just a little bit about my design. I'm a gut response builder, and I have the 515 conscious, which is a huge part of how I set the tone with the people that I work with, right? I bring my rhythms and approach to how I do things, and I do that in a very practical way. I also have a couple of other strengths that are unconscious that connect my inspiration and conceptualization, where I'm able to take just complex ideas and turn them again into practical pieces of information for people to apply. The thing that probably really stands out for me, though, about what I notice really shows up in my design, I mean, I have the cross of consciousness, and the work that I do for myself and for other people is really about that. I have really spent my whole life, I would say, in pursuit of deepening my own knowledge of myself. So I'm the type of person, and a part of it is because I work in this field of learning and development in an HR capacity. I have so many certifications, it's almost unreal. I have a lot of certifications, and it's because of the way that I work with people. So I've just gotten a lot of different perspectives over the years. But in terms of what key elements I bring, I think because I bring that friction and that goal of progress to my interactions with people. Ultimately, I believe and want everybody to succeed in their work lives. And I do think it's possible. So that's a lot of what I do, right? I'm always looking at my own changes that I'm making in my life and the success that I want to see for myself. And I'm taking those same experiences and I'm working with others to help them get out of these dead end situations, get aligned with who they are, and go forth and have an amazing life, doing what you love to do. I think it's possible.
Uh-huh, yeah. And for those who are not familiar so much with the business side of human design and the terms there, Veronica is a sacred generator. Yeah, just to clarify that. Well, my next question is, Veronica, after you met the system and you heard about the concept of mind and outer authority, how did you deal with that,
Yeah,
basically?
I definitely, because I have that definition between, the head and the ajna. I am definitely someone who can be very in my head and get, caught up in ideas. And when I first learned that I was a gut response builder, sacral generator, that it took me like a moment to really start connecting to that and really noticing it, actively noticing it. And what ended up happening was, for me, the key indicators really became a better way for me to quickly tap into how and where I was either getting frustrated or I was feeling satisfied. I was able to connect to that part of the information and my design a bit quicker. And then when I started noticing, okay, I'm frustrated. Well, why was I frustrated? Why am I frustrated? Who at work is frustrating me? What is going on at work that is frustrating me? And I have to say, it really opened my eyes. It really opened my eyes before, when we were talking, before we got started here, I shared with you, it's like, you know, before I knew this information, I mean, I definitely have had a lot of success in my career, but it's because I was often just going after things. So I was also on a path of like serious burnout and lots of frustration and not understanding why. Once I learned about BG5 and human design and really started not only understanding my design, but really watching myself and really noticing what was triggering me, who was triggering me, what I was doing in different situations by myself or when I was with a group, because different things get pulled out of us depending upon, are we, getting situated in a penta? Are we in the larger OC16 WA configuration? Different things happen to us. And if you just start to notice how you tend to behave at work, and really start just doing that analysis, I think you can't help but to change. And when I look back at that time before, like really like right before I started studying this and learning this, my life, my work life, and how I showed up so different from how I show up now. And, I mean, I am a 4/6. So in BG5 language, we call that an influencer leader. So in that six quality, after I passed my Chiron return, my life my work life actually in particular fell into quite major disarray through my Chiron return. And, that is when I started learning about all of this. And then what ended up happening was the new direction that I went in was so much more aligned with really who I am here to be, and really stepping into that true role model self. And what I've noticed is I don't have to try to do anything, right? All I have to do is stay connected with the qualities of the truth of my design. And when I do that, I and have been able to now show up in my work and in my coaching practice in a way that, again, is just night and day from how I used to behave before. I don't push or demand for anything. Everything that happens is coming to me and I am responding to it. And it really, that doesn't mean I'm not doing anything though, right? I
Mhm.
am living my life. I am getting out there. I'm doing the things that are sparking excitement and interest in me. And then letting the rest, right, come together in this natural way, not in a way that I'm forcing it.
Mhm. Lovely. And since you mentioned the different life cycles, you said towards and post your Chiron return. Actually, I love that. And it's going to be also part of your offering because it's
Yeah,
so different nowadays for young people before their 30s, how to approach their vocation, the business world, and how to be. And not that you're going to tell them how to be, but actually to support them to be themselves and be authentic. And then how is it different in different stages of life? I find your workshop and presentation going to be very useful to people, and especially in the new coming times where it's not about only working to survive, but really, and we already see it. People just want to be in a job they really love, and
yes,
they feel themselves there, and really struggling with the old ways of the bargain where you would, be one person from 9 to 5 and then be a totally different person after 5. Those
absolutely.
times are over.
They are
We're
over.
now the same person all through the day, and especially young people, they're very well informed. And they don't allow, I would say, so much to, they don't make so much compromises. And yet, um, it's actually hard on the work market. So it's hard to find a job in general, let alone a job you really love and resonate with. So Veronica is going to be very helpful to us with her perspective and from her experience for 20 years in the human resources in the HR sphere. Oh my God, this is like a long path. And then meeting human design, BG5, adding on to that experience and expertise and giving a totally different perspective. That's going to be wow. I really love the practicality of that. So I'm
Yeah, I'm
really
excited about
that
it too.
we're
I think
having
it'll
you.
be great.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Actually, one more thing, you said you help people and with changing also their career paths.
Yeah.
What would you say is the biggest challenge there?
Well, I do think the biggest challenge is that, like we just kind of get used to behaving and being in a certain way. And I do think all of us as humans, we just get overly attached in many ways to ourselves and whatever dynamic is going on. So if I kind of put this into some context, there was a young man that I was working with, graduated from college, had a degree, was bouncing from thing to thing, couldn't find anything, really steady. His parents were frustrated with him. He was frustrated. He was tired of living with his parents. He wanted to be out on his own. And his parents approached me. Now, again, this is what I mean, right? I'm a 4. How did they approach me? They didn't even approach me directly. They talked to my husband. Then my husband told me about it. And I said, I'd love to help him. Let me work with him. Let me put a proposal together and start working with him. And I think the thing we have to remember as coaches and consultants, it's like, it's a journey, right? I am working with this person who is very entrenched in his own ways, and his parents and that dynamic that they were having, and his own frustration, his own lack of self-confidence, all of this stuff, this very heavy stuff, is weighing down his ability to be successful. So I start with the person's BG5 design, right? And I start talking to them in a way, pulling various aspects out of their design to help them understand how they're here to function. And I think the other thing to remember, and I always remind myself of this, it's like, hey, they're not here to learn it all and be a student of it, right? I just pull out the most important stuff in the person's design and start talking to them in a way that says, okay, like this particular person was an emotional builder, but also had like multiple strengths defined. And, sometimes when I see that in a person's design, it makes them very fixed in their ways. So fixed. And then his parents are like, you got to get a job. You got to get a job, right? And he was feeling all this pressure. So I started working with him in a very, very practical way. First thing I do, I rip apart your resume, and I am putting it together in a way that makes sense. Why? Because I've seen thousands of resumes at this point being in HR. I know what works and what doesn't work. And most people's resumes are horrible. Unfortunately, we're not taught this yet, anywhere. And don't do anything crazy, like just think, oh, I'll put it in ChatGPT and that will fix it for me. It still won't get it to quite, because we're also seeing lots of resumes come in the organization that I work for that are also absolute junk. And it's obvious that they had ChatGPT do it. So it's like what I try to help people do is get them to this happy medium. Like I need you to bring your own mind and experience to this. And then I'm using my expertise to really position you in whatever your background is. I think I could make anybody look good, honestly, on a resume. I will make you look good. So I don't care what your experience is. And then I use my practical approach to interviewing. And like you pointed out before, right, it is a game. It's a game. And it's also a sales tool. Your resume and your interview are sales tools, right? So I am trying to help you maximize all of that. And then I'm practicing with you, practice to help you get comfortable with the words that are coming out of your mouth and how you speak about yourself, right? So that when you show up in the interview, my goal is to make sure that you knock it out of the park and that you win and that you get an offer. And now the last order of business is that you negotiate that salary and you get started. Now, and I did this with this young man. And let me just say, though, this is where, again, right, our lives are not some perfect journey. Like even with my coaching and consulting, right, he got into that first position. I got him moved out of his parents' house. He had a great starting salary. We got him rolling in his life. He was ecstatic, so excited to get, rolling. He got to the place and started doing the work, and he wasn't totally happy with it, And that's the other thing, like we just have to trust ourselves. We have to trust ourselves, right? That's where it's like your design just starts kicking in. When he reached out to me and he's like, I don't know. I thought this was going to be great. I don't think I'm going to be happy doing this. I said, it's okay. Let's start looking again. What else are you thinking about? What are you attracted to, right? Because he's a builder. And that's the thing with an emotional builder, they do need time, but he was so eager to get out and we were able to get him out, but it was a journey. he ended up starting to work for a school district as a substitute teacher, and he was much, much happier doing that than what he originally was doing. And then that ended up leading to him getting a position back in the state that we live in, but in another city on the other side of the state, getting paid even more. So the journey took several steps, but he keeps landing right in this better and better in place, better and better place. And I do think it's because just how I help you start reconnecting to yourself and then give you these practical tools. Like once you know how to write your resume and you know how to interview, you'll have it for the rest of your life. You know,
Mhm.
it's still going to work because there is just this whole thing when it comes to our work. And I think this will absolutely continue to be true in 2027 and beyond. You have to know you. You must know you, and you have to be able to speak about yourself in a way that helps people understand who you are. And that's the opportunity. So I love when I can help, like, especially people in their 20s, really launch and get out of their parents' houses and get out there and start working and living their lives. I do find that really satisfying. And like I said to you, even though it's not like boom, we got it in one shot, it took a few steps, but he kept landing in better and better places because he started paying attention to what really mattered to him.
Mm, fantastic.
Yeah.
So, guys, if you are newcomers and you have never heard about human design or BG5, you see we're going to deliver information and practical solutions for actually how to be authentic as yourself in the world out there. And also, if you are already a seasoned practitioner, BG5 consultant, Veronica will show a case study and how she approaches the whole um, consultation and coaching that she does, and how she approaches the alpha and all your strengths, etc., etc. So we have something in stock for everybody, newcomers and professionals. You're both welcome. Would you like to join us? Stay tuned. Follow us on our socials and our website, where we're going to publish more information and specific descriptions of the different lectures and workshops. So stay tuned. Veronica, thank you so much for your time and for these interesting lectures, which are not only food for the mind, but very practical and to help us be out there and really live it. Being happy with ourselves, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be easy. We're here to learn in this lifetime, so there are challenges, but they make life interesting, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Okay, well, see you very soon, and you guys stay tuned for more. Bye for now.
Okay.
Would you like to join us?
And truly be in your element.